Hey guys, it's Lainey and welcome to my March wrap-up. This month I was in a reading slump. I think a lot of people, according to Twitter, are also in reading slumps, and I completed a total of 4 books, which is pretty good for being in a reading slump. But the 4 books I did read, I read in the last 2 weeks of March. The first book I completed was The Archived by Victoria Schwab. I read this for the read-along and I was a part of the live show and it was great. It was so much fun and I'm really glad I was able to participate in that. I rated this book a 5 out of 5. I was really blown away by how much I love this book. It's a great mystery YA book with supernatural magical twists in it. Immediately after I finished The Archived, I picked up Half Bad by Sally Green. I bought this book because of the hype and I rate this book a 5 out of 5 too. What? I don't rate books back to back 5 out of 5 usually, but this book is really good, you guys. The hype to me is well deserved. To me, reading this book was like reading Harry Potter for the first time. I mean, yes, it centers around a boy witch, and yes, it takes place in the United Kingdom, but it's so different from Harry Potter. I don't want to compare the two, I don't. But when I was 9 years old reading Harry Potter for the very first time, I felt like there was this like magical feeling inside me that I felt when I was reading that book, and I've never had that feeling before until I was reading this book. I loved it. Nathan is one of my favorite heroes. He's one of my favorite perspectives. I love being in his head, even if it makes me uncomfortable at times. Definitely read the book. The hype is well deserved. Then, believe it or not, I picked up just a regular adult fiction book, and that was Less Than Zero by Bret Easton Ellis. I have read a Bret Easton Ellis book before. It was The Informers, which I have at home, but I don't remember if I remember being okay with it. I don't think it stood out to me that much, and I don't even remember what it was about. But I had to read this for class at the end of April, but I decided I wanted to read it now. There is no plot, so if you're expecting a plot in this book, you won't find one. It's very character driven, and the characters, you're just going to be shaking your heads. You don't even like them, but you like them. It's like hard to explain. We follow Clay, who's 18. He's back in Hollywood on his winter break from a school he goes to on the East Coast. There's cocaine, there's sex, there's drugs, there's everything in this book. It takes place in like the late 80s, so it's about rich kids in Hollywood in the 80s just going to parties and doing nothing with their lives, doing absolutely nothing. I recently watched the movie and it was terrible. I can give movies the benefit of the doubt that are adapted from books, but Less Than Zero is not a good movie adaptation. And I don't even think it should have been adapted because there is no plot in this book, so they had to make a plot in the movie and it just did not work for me. None of the characters are the same, but I'll give a standing O to Robert Downey Jr., who played a crack addict very well. And the last book I read for the month of March was Avalon by Mindy Arnett. I talked about this in one of my book hauls. I got it because it was science fiction, which I'm getting really into now. It was compared to Joss Whedon's Firefly, which I have not seen, but I know it had a huge following and whatever. I actually started reading it when I filmed the book haul, and I felt like it was Fast and Furious in space, and I still think that's true. It's about teenagers, they're a heist and they steal technology from spaceships, so it has that stealing stuff, racing against time, whatever. This book was so good. I was completely engrossed. Everything I was trying to guess what was happening, completely wrong. This book it just twists and turns, action-packed all the time. It was very cool to visualize this kind of world because it doesn't take place on Earth. It takes place in space and on space stations and sometimes on planets, but you don't really get to see the planets that much, and on like spaceports, space stations, I already said that. So I really, really loved the male protagonist, the male lead, and it was told in his perspective. Jeff, he's a great, great hero. I felt for him. I loved him. He was a perfect leader. He told the story perfectly. It was great. There's a touch of romance in it, but not really, so if you don't want romance in the story, definitely check out this book because it is just sci-fi, action-packed, great space adventure. I really recommend this. And those are the books I completed in March. What were some of your favorite books that you read this month? Oh, that's right. I have to choose one of my favorites. This is really hard because it comes down to two. It's between Half Bad and Avalon. I don't know which one to choose. I'll choose Avalon because I just finished reading it and I'm still thinking about it. I was thinking about it today during class and I can't wait for the second book. I'm gonna get the novella, even though it's a prequel to Avalon. I want to know more about this world. I hope you guys all had a great March. Here's to April being better, and I will see you guys all later. Bye!